And I say this, if we ever, with NATO, as you remember, when I first came in, at the time we had 28 countries, and only 7 of them were paid up. The rest of them were delinquent. They owed the money, huge amounts of money. And Obama would go there, he'd make a speech and he'd leave. Bush went, made a speech and he left. I went, looked at the books and I said, you guys, you haven't paid. You got to pay. And I went back the next time and I said, you got to pay. If you don't pay, they said, well, if we don't pay, one of the presidents of one of the countries said, if we don't pay, will the United States defend us against Russia in case of a war? I said, no, we won't even think. You mean you're delinquent? If you're delinquent, we are not going to defend you if you're delinquent. As soon as I said that, the money came in by the billions. I got $400 billion. These guys would never pay. They would have never paid. Why should they pay if we were
so
paying? So
that's all it took was you saying we're not going to back them if Russia
had I not
invades,
said that?
And they paid.
Yeah, had I said we will back you, they would not have paid, yeah.
How many are delinquent now?
And I took a lot of heat from the press for that because they said, President Trump wants to get out of NATO. Look, NATO's very unfair to us because we spend far more than we should be spending on NATO. These other countries, which many of them are very rich, they don't spend. It's a very unfair thing. NATO, for us, is a very unfair thing. But the worst part is Europe to us on trade is horrible. They don't take our farm products. They don't take our cars. I said to Angela Merkel, Angela, how many Chevrolets do you have in the middle of Germany? She said, none. I said, that's right. How many do you have in Munich? She said, none. I said, that's right. You know how many Mercedes-Benzes, BMWs, and Volkswagens? We have millions. I said, it's going to have to change. They take advantage of us on trade, not quite like China, but not that far off. We lose $250 billion a year with Europe, trading with Europe. So we defend them because the NATO deal was so bad, but I made it much better and I got them to pay. And 2% is too little, by the way, also. That 2% is not the right number. But I got them to pay. So we defend them, a very bad deal for us. We were paying, before I got there, I say we were paying 90% of the cost of NATO.
90%?
Yes. And I hate to use this word because you have some young, brilliant future soldiers watching, but they screw us on trade. So they screw us on trade and we're defending them. It's always a one-way street. When I came in, we had such bad trade deals with South Korea, with Japan. Abe was great, by the way. He's a great man. He got assassinated. But we had such bad trade deals with so many countries. China. I made a great trade deal with China. They have to buy $50 billion a year of our product. But
let's talk about the assassination attempt on your life.
Yeah.
There was another one I saw today.
Well, it didn't.
Potential.
Yeah, it wasn't quite the same thing. They had somebody that they took in today, but that wasn't a bullet going at 4,000 miles an hour at you. That was.
Where is this coming from? I mean, we look at the context. There's a lot of speculation about this, but if you look at context, the media has been against you. Then there was Russiagate. Then there was the impeachment. Then they kicked you off all of your social media platforms. They prosecuted you. And the latest was there was an assassination attempt. Was this really a lone wolf?
In history, if you study history, which you do probably more so than I do, they say Andrew Jackson was a president that was the most tormented as a president. They really went after him. Second was Abraham Lincoln, but he had the Civil War, so you would maybe expect that. And now people are saying, but nobody slew us. Think of it. I won, but they impeached me twice. That's crazy Nancy Pelosi. She's no good, bad, so bad for the country. And an evil person, a sick person. I think she's a very sick person. But that whole... there's a large portion of the Democrats, like Adam Shifty Schiff. He'll probably be a senator soon. And he's just a bad guy. He's a bad guy. Made up stories. There are a lot of bad people over there. And I think I can say that there's never been a president treated like this. Now, the reason I'm being treated like this is I want a strong military. I want a border. I want things that you would like. I want low taxes. I want great jobs. I want to make America great again. All of these things. Nobody cares about Biden. Nobody cares about Bush. Nobody cares about a lot of other people. I rebuilt our military. I cut regulations more than anybody in history. I'm against destroying our country based on environmental things that are not true. They're just not true. They want to destroy our country. They're called environmental extremists. And I don't know if they actually believe it. It's interesting. They don't want us to produce any energy, they want our country to go to hell. And yet China's building a coal plant every single week. And coal is okay. They actually have methods now where coal becomes clean coal, all right? But think of it. Through the air currents, we can have the cleanest country. They can give up everything. They can give up the cows, which they'd like to. The cows they want to give up. No more meat. They don't want cows. They don't want cattle. Next will be humans, right? Mm-hmm. But they can give up the cows. They can give up they can do everything perfectly, but China won't. And that air, over a period of about 4 days, flows right over the United States.
Yeah.
So what are we doing? And John Kerry would go over there in his, privately owned airplane. His wife was a Heinz, married to Heinz. And she's wealthy, and they have a beautiful plane. And he'd fly over there and spewing whatever they spew. But he'd meet with President Xi, and he'd talk about the environment. And President Xi is a great player. He's a great poker player. And he was very nice to him. And, oh, yes, we are working very hard. We're not going to do anything, just words.